Hey guys, and welcome back to another ATP draw preview and prediction video. It's the ATP Dubai tournament. It's the Dubai duty-free tennis championships. We just had the WTA tournament conclude in Dubai, and we're going to have now the ATP side as well competing. And I have to say, is pretty stacked. That's for sure. It's an ATP 500, and Novak Djokovic makes his return. Before we get into it, though, remember to that like button. Do subscribe if you are new, and do leave a rating or review if you are a podcast listener or watcher. Also, do remember to share the videos. It really does help us out a great deal as well. And shout out to our members, as always, greatly appreciated. Let's get into it then. So Novak Djokovic is the number one seed. He makes his return as not only the number one seed, but world number one player. And it's great to see him back on tour. Of course, had that hamstring tear during the Australian Open and fantastically won it really with a handicap. And in the end, it looked like he was playing some of his better tennis, and I think everyone needs to be pretty worried about the rest of the year, to be honest, because he doesn't seem to be slowing down, and it only seems like major injuries might be the factor to stop him, or the only factor that could potentially stop him this year. Anything else, I'm not sure. We'll see. But at the moment, he's looking like a dominant force. He faces Machak in the first round, so we'll go for Djokovic. Machak is a qualifier. Grykspor had a very, very good last couple of months and has had a very good last couple of months. Lestian has also had some good performances recently as well, but I'm going to go for Grykspor. I think he's played some good tennis, so I'll back him. Poprin is a wild card. He's got Pavel Kotov as a qualifier. I'm going to go for Poprin. He, in my opinion, is maybe underperformed a little bit so far in his career. So I'm interested to see how the rest of his year goes. Andy Murray, fresh off making the Doha final against Daniel Medvedev. He plays Hubert Hurkacz, who just won Marseille, beating Alexandra Bublik in the semi-finals. And in the final, I mean, he just looked very, very good, to say the least. So Hurkacz is playing some very good tennis, as is Andy Murray. Hurkacz will be a lot fresher, though. Hurkacz, wasn't playing 3 sets every single match, whereas Murray has been playing 3 setters, apart from the final where he lost. But in terms of this specific match, that could have been a blessing in disguise, because he plays 3 grueling sets there, and even if he'd won it, he'd come into this first round probably very, very tired. Hurkacz beat Benjamin Bonzi in straight sets, so that's the difference there. Both will be confident. I think Hurkacz's game is not necessarily similar to Medvedev's, but he also doesn't miss too much either, and that could frustrate Murray. He's similar to Medvedev in the sense that they don't really have easy power in the ground stroke exchanges. 2-1 is the head-to-head in favor of Hurkacz as well, but the last time they played was in Vienna. Murray won a tight 3-set match. I'm actually going to go with maybe a little bit of bias given how Murray's been playing, but I'm going to go with Andy Murray to win this one. I have a feeling that Hurkacz might have a little bit of a coming down after winning in Marseille as well. And I think for Murray, the conditions will be relatively similar to Doha. He's played some good tennis. I will be interested to see how far he goes in this tournament, if I'm being honest, even if he beats Hurkacz. But there's been positive signs, and he's played some really good tennis so far this year. Medvedev plays Matteo Arnaldi, a lucky loser. I think Medvedev will come through. He's just won back-to-back titles, Rotterdam and Doha. He's looking like someone who, he's looking like a top 2 hardcourt player in the world right now, with Djokovic. And there were massive question marks after he lost in the US Open and then lost in the Australian Open. US Open, of course, to Kyrgios, Australian Open to Korda. They both serve-volleyed against him as well. Look like there might be some major flaws in his game. People have tried to serve volley against him in the last 2 weeks, and they've had varying success, but no one's been able to beat him, and that's been the biggest difference. So he's also added some bits to his own game, that's for sure. He's been hitting the ball a lot cleaner, I found. I also think he's tried to dictate more with the forehand. And on top of that, he's actually still working on that transition game. And and trying to finish off some points in the net, which I think has been a really brave choice. He doesn't look like the most natural in the net, and it is a work in progress. But the fact that he's trying to adapt and improve his game is a big thumbs up from me. So I think he's trending in the right direction. He's just won 2 tournaments in a row, so he is the most informed player at this tournament. Bublik versus Lazarov. We're going to go for Bublik in the semi-finals of Marseille. He's in some good form after losing, I think it was 7 first-round matches in a row. Kokkinakis plays Quinton Hallis, who's a lucky loser. Kokkinakis has just won a challenger, I think, a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. I'm very much on the fence about how high his ceiling actually is, because a lot of people might think that his ceiling is similar to Kyrgios if you see them just playing doubles together and see them they're best friends and stuff, and also just his general attributes. But he does seem a way off that. I don't mean to sound harsh, but I don't know how much he really has, and whether we've seen his best tennis. And I think we might have, to be honest. I don't know if he's going to get much better than this. So that's a separate issue. But against Quinton Hallis, I'm actually going to go for Quinton Hallis as the lucky loser. I think he'll take the opportunity and cause a bit of an upset there. Dan Evans versus Borna Coric. Now, if Coric is fit, I'm going to go for Coric. I think Dan Evans hasn't had the best of results recently, and Coric has had a pretty good 6 to 9 months. He has been injured. He was injured at the Australian Open. He lost early on, but I've got him winning. Zverev and Lehechka. This is a really good matchup. Lehechka had match points against Murray. Both these players are victims of Andy Murray last week in Doha. Zverev lost him in 3 sets, and Lehechka had match points against Murray. Didn't manage to convert them. Murray came back to win. I think Lehechka's been playing the better tennis, so I'm going to go for Lehechka to beat Zverev. I think his aggressive style of tennis will come up trumps against Zverev, in my opinion. I just think he's playing some good tennis. He's in better form. I think Zverev is still not 100% the player he once was, and it will take him still some time after a major injury. Ruusuvuori, O'Connor, we're going to go for Ruusuvuori. Häusler, Sonego, we'll go for Sonego. He's been in some decent form. Cressy, Felix, Auger-Aliassime. Now, Felix will be trying to get revenge after losing to Cressy at Wimbledon in the first round of last year's tournament. I'm going to go for Felix to get revenge. He lost to Medvedev in straight sets in the last 2 weeks twice. So once was a more comfortable display in the first week in Rotterdam. Last week in Doha, there were 2 close sets. One of them went to a tiebreaker. He had set points, didn't put it away, lost that tiebreaker in the end and lost the match. He was also a breakup as well at one point. So I'm going to go for Felix. Khachanov and Van der Zandschulp. We're going to go for Khachanov. I think it looks like he's got a bye, or he's playing a qualifier there. So we'll pick him. Davidovich Fokina is playing Jaziri, who's got a wild card. We'll go for Davidovich Fokina, and Rublev to beat Krajinovic. Right, Djokovic, Greipswald, Djokovic, Murray, Popyrin, Murray, Medvedev, Bublik, Medvedev, Coric and Hallis, Coric, Lehechka, Ruusuvuori, Lehechka, Sonego and Felix will go for Felix, Khachanov, Khachanov, and Rublev to beat Davidovich Fokina. Djokovic, Murray, I mean, as much as I'd love Murray to roll back the years and potentially beat Djokovic, I just don't see that happening. I think Djokovic is just going to be too good. He's going to be fresh. He's going to be raring to go for this. Medvedev, Coric, now this is a really interesting matchup. If this was to happen, I think if we're talking about Medvedev from a month ago, I might even pick Coric, but I think Medvedev at the moment is playing too well. The big question mark around him is going to be, is he starting to feel it in his legs? Because if he is, then it could be very tough for him. He's a very, very physical player. But if he's not, because it's the start of the year and he hasn't really built up too much fatigue, then he might be fine. So we'll go for Medvedev for now. Felix to beat Lehechka, is it? I don't know. No, I'm going to go Lehechka to beat Felix. Should I? Is that a crazy pick? Lehechka's serving well. He's playing some good tennis. Is that a weirder pick? They both played the semi-finals at Doha last week. Yeah, I'm going to go Lehechka. And then Khachanov, Rublev. Actually, no, I'll go Felix. I'm going to Khachanov to beat Rublev. I think it'll be more consistent. Is that right? Do I want to go for those players? No, I'm going for Lehechka. Oh, I can't make up my mind. So we've got a random semi-final in Lehechka and Khachanov, and then Djokovic Medvedev. Now the question is, can Medvedev beat Djokovic in... The one silver lining that Medvedev might have against Djokovic is Djokovic and even Nadal as well to a degree. Both these players do not play at 100% in these tournaments, in these ATP 500s, ATP 250s, even Masters 1000s at times. They save their best to peak at Grand Slams. They do. They really do. So this probably won't be an A+ Djokovic. It'll probably be an A Djokovic, even a B+ Djokovic, or even an A- Djokovic. But it's not going to be an A+ Djokovic, in my opinion. Because he's not going to bust the guy against Medvedev. Now, Medvedev, the advantage he has is that he can make this very physical for Djokovic. And if he does, it's going to be difficult. But if Djokovic serves and volleys effectively, which is something that he hasn't been working on it. He's been working on it for years, and now it's come to fruition now. That it's going to be very tough for Djokovic. If Djokovic gets dragged into, which has happened in these matches against each other, into these really long exchanges, then he could potentially come out second best. Although Medvedev has played a lot of tennis recently as well, so he could be leggy. So all in all, I think it points towards Djokovic. Lehechka, Khachanov. I'm going to go Lehechka to beat Khachanov. So that leaves us with a Djokovic-Lehechka final. I mean, you've got to pick Djokovic. He's the number one seed. He's expected to win a tournament, and that's exactly what I'm going to go for. I normally go very left field with my picks, but in all honesty, I think with this one, it's tough to go against him. I know Medvedev's been in great form, but I just think it's going to be very hard for him to win 3 tournaments in a row in 3 consecutive weeks. It takes a lot out of you that just winning 2 in a row, or even 1, to be honest. So I would be surprised if he does. But in saying that, he's a physical beast. But for Djokovic, I don't think it would be any surprise to see him lift the trophy. So that's my pick. Let me know your pick. Who are you picking to win the ATP debate tournament? And also on top of that, do you agree with any of my picks? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts. And are you looking forward to watching this? Hopefully we'll be doing some live streams for it as well. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well. We'll see you in the next video.